Hello and welcome. You're watching COVID 360. I'm Sneha Moldani. On the show today, we talk about the vaccines for your children. It is possible that by September this year, children as young as 2 could get a shot against COVID-19. On the show, we'll also tell you about how much exposure children have had already to the infection in India. Also, we talk about the mental health of children and how you can help your child cope with the pandemic. But first up, a year and a half into the pandemic, hopes are increasing that India will have at least 3 vaccines to inoculate children against COVID-19. Which are these vaccines? Let's take a look.
Cadila Zydus, they have completed their main trial, which has more than 28,000 individuals. So we are looking forward that sometime in August, if the results are available, we can then start preparing for immunizing our children also.
Vaccines for children may be just around the corner, and India's children could be getting the first doses by August or September. The drive is expected to start before the onset of a third wave of COVID. So which are the vaccines in the pipeline? The trials for Zydus Cadila Zycov-D is expected to be over by July. Zycov-D is to be given to kids above the age of 12. Bharat Biotech's Covaxin's trials are expected to be completed by September. The clearance for vaccines in children is also expected the same month. The vaccine trials are underway on children between the ages of 2 to 17. Pfizer-BioNTech's mRNA vaccine is going to be imported to India. The vaccine is already being used in children above the age of 12 outside of India. Well, there are other vaccines as well, like Novavax, called Covovax in India, and it is being manufactured by Serum Institute of India. This vaccine too is going to start its trials on children from July onwards. The trials will involve 8 sites and 920 volunteers, all of them children. But the question really is if there is going to be enough doses for children, given the fact that all vaccines can't be given to children, and the population below the age of 18 to be vaccinated is also huge in the country. Since not all vaccines are allowed to be used in children, the challenge of inoculating every child is huge. But once the drive kickstarts, it will pave the way for a more normal life for children and protect them against the inevitable third wave. In New Delhi, Sneha Moldani for India Today. I spoke earlier to Dr. Randeep Guleria, director at Delhi's All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and he is fairly optimistic that a vaccine for children is just around the corner. Here's what he told me. You know, vaccines for children, when will we see the first vaccine for children in the country?
So vaccine trials in India are already going on. Bharat Biotech is already doing the trials, and one is hopeful that the results will be out quickly. I think by September, the data should be out and we should be able to have the regulatory approvals by then. Pfizer has already got FDA approval for their vaccine. And if Pfizer also comes into our country, and since we may accept the FDA approval which has been given by the US regulators, as far as India is concerned, we could also look at that vaccine being available for children. But having said that, I think the priority should be first to decrease mortality and therefore vaccinate the elderly and those with comorbidities first. We all know that children have a milder disease, and therefore if we have limited doses, we must really vaccinate first those who have a chance of having more severe disease and dying of COVID-19.
You do believe that Covaxin's vaccine for kids that is undergoing trials right now may have good enough data by September, and the approval will also be coming by September or sometime around that time?
Correct, that's true.
Also, the Zydus Cadila vaccine is also getting tested on children. Is that vaccine expected after Covaxin, or how do you see the procedure getting panned out in the next few weeks or so?
So that vaccine trial is also more or less over. They're, I think, collating the data. So one is waiting for them to really give their data and get the regulatory approvals. After that, we'll have a clear picture in terms of what the data suggests in terms of its efficacy, safety, and its utility as far as children and adults is concerned.
But the possibility of Covaxin's vaccine, Covaxin for children is before what I'm trying to ask you is that Zydus probably is going to follow the approval after Covaxin gets it.
That will depend on the data that they have, but hopefully by let's say September, we will have vaccines which should be available to children and possibly from more than one source.
Okay, and Covaxin's trials for children by this also involves children above the age of 2 and not just children above the age of 12. Am I correct?
Yes, Covaxin is looking at the trial between children between the age of 2 and 18 years. So it's even above, not 12 and above, but even 2 to 18.
Outside of India, how are children getting protection against COVID-19? How are they getting vaccinated? And is this allowing schools to open up? Here's more. Vaccination in kids is not new. In fact, it is widely accepted and has been around for years. Whether it is polio, measles or mumps, the list goes on. What about COVID vaccination for kids and where does the world really stand on that front? The European Union has authorized Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for use in children as young as 12. And this has sure paved way for a broader rollout in the bloc after similar clearances came through in Canada and the US. The UAE Ministry of Health and Prevention approved emergency use of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for the 12 to 15 age group in May this year. UAE nationals are booking slots for their kids through the app for kids over 12 years. Italy and Germany are inoculating kids with the Pfizer shot in the 12 to 15 age bracket. With parental permission, teenagers are now receiving the jabs in Hungary. What's interesting here to note is that there are 6 vaccines available in Hungary. Pfizer-BioNTech, one out of these, is the only approved vaccine for teenagers. The jabs made by Moderna, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson are also available, as well as China's Sinopharm and Russia's Sputnik V. But kids are getting the Pfizer jab. The UK regulators have approved the Pfizer jab for 12 to 15-year-olds in the UK. The vaccine advisors in the UK, though, prefer that existing doses be used to immunize vulnerable people around the world first. Singapore has the green light for kids between 12 to 15. Pfizer-BioNTech jab for COVID is the only one that has been approved. In Singapore, teens between 12 and 17 can take the Pfizer jab. Those above 18 can opt for Pfizer or Moderna. Parental consent mandatory for vaccination for those below 18 in Singapore. Parents or guardians have to accompany children below 13 to their vaccination appointments. In Japan, students are encouraged to be vaccinated individually by their doctors. The health ministry there has lowered the minimum age for vaccine to 12. The US began inoculation of young adolescents after its Center for Disease Control and Prevention approved Pfizer's shot for those between the age of 12 and 15. In Canada, children under the age of 12 do not yet qualify for a COVID-19 vaccine. Health Canada has approved the Pfizer vaccine for children above the age of 12 and over. With Chaiti Narula in New Delhi, Sneha Murdani for India Today. What about children in India? With the decline in cases of COVID-19 now, is it time for India to open up schools, at least make a plan? Listen to what the government is thinking. I want to ask you, the question that parents are asking now is that whether is this the time to open up schools in a way to just try and limp back to normalcy? Would you advocate opening up of schools right now?
So this is a big debate going on, and that's why I said if you have sero survey which suggests that children have already had infection to some extent, if you are able to develop strategies, and this can be done, we could have physical schools opening up in some way. Various strategies can be looked at in terms of looking at screening, trying to see that we have certain activities which can lead to crowding not being allowed in schools, or happening or having a day of having a mechanism where half the school comes on one day and the other half comes on the other day, so that we have schools opening up, but the crowds that we see in classes is not there because it can be redistributed in various classes, and that can also help. So different strategies can be looked at, from testing to screening to looking at limited attendance in the class so that crowding doesn't happen. But I personally feel that we have to start looking at these strategies now because the education for children is suffering. Their overall growth is getting affected. A holistic development of a child's social and psychological growth is dependent on proper school functioning, and therefore that is something we also need to look at.
Okay, but today the government did say that until we vaccinate even more and we are sure of bringing the situation under control, we don't really want to open up schools. You think there needs to be some sort of a rethink on that front?
So a balance needs to be struck so that we don't allow schools to become super spreading events. Because remember, we know that children don't get that serious infection, but they can be the source of carrying the infection to their homes and giving it to the elderly or the individuals with comorbidity. Therefore, I think it's important that we look at it in a holistic manner. But it's also important that we look at the overall development of children and see that we are not keeping things shut down more out of fear than really the fact that it may not be very harmful if you open up schools.
Have you thought of open air schooling? Is that something that you're looking at? Is it that even a possibility in a country like us?
So open air schools are something that will be good from the point of view of infection control, because we know that in closed environment and indoor environment, there is a lot of droplet and aerosol spread which can happen. But considering the climate in our country, the changes in as far as temperature is concerned, it may not always be possible to have an open air school, but that is something again which can be sort of explored as we're exploring other ideas.
Our next story is from Odisha, where 17 districts are ensuring community schooling following COVID protocols. Can this model not be replicated outside of Odisha? Take a look.
Okay, and now,
For more than a year now, a computer screen has been their classroom. Cooped up in their homes, the only connect with schoolmates has been through the tiny windows that pop up on their monitors. Math or physics, it is on Zoom where they find the answers. With the third wave lurking round the corner, it could be some time before they step into a school again. Schools themselves are experimenting on how to cope with the new normal, particularly where access to internet itself is a challenge. Mo Chata Shali is an initiative in Odisha that could have some answers. No internet or digital devices are needed here, but more than 1 lakh children in 17 districts of the state get a solid community-led education. The concept resembles the age-old Gurukul system. Open-air classrooms to suit the current post-COVID scenario.
आगु तो लॉकडाउन आम भितर मोबाइल नहीं बड़ मोबाइल नहीं बोलिकिना पिला पढ़ू थिले नहीं एबे अब गोटे पद्य कवच गोटे अच्छी तार पढ़ाऊँ 2 घंटा देना पढ़ाऊँ एबे आज माने पिला मन को उद्देश्य बंद होउची.
Children are happy, parents even more so.
आम गाँव लोक खुशी पिला मान को खुशी समस्ते गाँव लोक.
The initiative comes with its challenges. Money is needed to run the show, and that's running out.
आम गाँव रे पिला माने अधिक कलाकारी करथिबार मु सेमानंकु सकाळे 2 घंटा पाठ पढ़ाउछि सेति मते सेही चाटाचारी रो काम भल लागुछि.
The Odisha initiative is one that could be a worthy model to follow, particularly for less privileged students. Hopefully, the state government will keep the money flowing. With Revati Hariharan, Sneha Mordani in Delhi for India Today. But how vulnerable are children? That's the question that everybody is asking. How much exposure have children had to COVID-19 to give them some amount of natural immunity? How many children have been exposed to coronavirus? Sero surveys are an effective tool to find this out. But there is some optimistic news from Mumbai, for example, where more than 50% of the children in the city have antibodies against COVID-19, according to the Sero survey that has been done by the BMC. Mustafa Sheikh with this report.
A Mumbai Sero survey has brought some heartening news. It has found that more than 51% children have shown antibodies against COVID. Considering that there are varying reports on the effect of a third wave among the young, it's relief for both parents and health administrators.
करीबन 24 वार्ड है तो 2400 सैंपल के बदले में हमको 2176 सैंपल हमको मिले और हमने जो पब्लिक लेबोरेटरीज है, प्राइवेट लेबोरेटरीज है, हर एक वार्ड में वहाँ से हमने सैंपल इकट्ठा किए। इकट्ठा करने के बाद में उसका एनालिसिस किया और एनालिसिस करने के बाद में हमको काफ़ी अच्छे रिजल्ट मिले।
Over the past 3 months, Maharashtra has been strengthening its pediatric health infrastructure to fight any eventuality. While the Sero survey is good news, the BMC is not lowering its guard.
हमारी जो तैयारी है, अगर किसी दौर में बच्चों को ज़्यादा संसर्ग हो जाता है, ज़्यादा बाधित हो सकते हैं, तो उनके लिए इलाज करने के लिए हमने पूरी तैयारी कायम रखी है।
The sero positivity rate among 10 to 14-year-olds was 53.43%, 51.39% among 15 to 18-year-olds, 51.04% among 1 to 4-year-olds, and 47.33% among 5 to 9-year-olds. Sero positivity rate among 18 years rose to 51.18% from 39.4% in the previous survey among adolescents.
BMC officials said that even after optimistic Sero survey results, they will not let their guard down and will continue to upgrade health facilities for a possible third wave. With camera person Nitin Varne, Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai for India Today.
A study from Delhi's AIIMS done along with the World Health Organization also is offering hope. It says children are unlikely to get hit disproportionately in the third wave of the pandemic. But we do need to tread cautiously.
This is really heartening news for parents of young kids. An AIIMS study has diminished fears that a third wave of COVID would be particularly bad for children. The AIIMS WHO findings show there is very little chance that the next surge would disproportionately affect young ones. That's because it found that the seropositivity rate among children was high, almost comparable to adults. This is important because seropositivity is a reflection of antibodies generated against a virus. In other words, it shows natural immunity levels present in a person.
सीरो सर्वे बताता है कि बच्चे हमेशा जो है उनसे ज़्यादा संक्रमण रहा है, कम नहीं रहा है। आप ये जो 2% या 8% जो डेटा बता रहा है वह है कि जिनमें सिम्टम्स थे, वो सिम्टोमेटिक्स जिनका टेस्ट किया गया। ये कह के कि बच्चों में इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुआ इसलिए आएगा, इसका कोई साइंटिफिक बेसिस नहीं है। हाँ, ये हो सकता है कि कोई नया वेरिएंट आ जाए तो वह सबके लिए होगा।
The study was done between March and June. More than 4,500 people were part of research, 700 of them younger than 17 and 3,800 over the age of 18. It was done in different geographical locations in India. Seroprevalence was 55.7% in less than 18 years age group and 63.5% in the above 18 years age group. The study even found a slightly higher seropositivity rate among girls.
The study comes at a time when there is growing concern about children getting disproportionately affected in the third wave of the pandemic. But there is a catch here. The study clearly says that the Delta variant is predominant in India right now. And if things change, then the situation can also change vis-a-vis our children. However, for the moment, this is reassuring given the fact that not a single child in India has been vaccinated against COVID-19. With inputs from Milan Sharma, Sneha Moldani in Delhi for India Today. Adults are slowly limping back to normalcy with restrictions getting lifted in India. Vaccinations are underway for adults and this is giving them hope. But what about our children? What are they going through really? Take a look. Anxiety, feeling low, depressed or just bored. This is what describes the state of mind of most adults during the second wave of the pandemic. But as the restrictions get lifted and adult population get protection by way of vaccines, there is some semblance of normalcy for them. But what about children? Not vaccinated and still cooped up. Life has come to a standstill for children in the last year and a half. Another crucial aspect associated with this pandemic has been the lockdown. It has had a detrimental effect on the mental health of many children across the country.
In this pandemic, children need to be given information about what's happening around them and what is expected to them. Please talk to them in a developmentally appropriate way, taking care not to scare them, but giving them guidelines on how to manage themselves. If they appear very anxious or restless, do reassure them, hold them close, and spend as much time as possible with the child.
Earlier, children would go to schools and parks which gave them the opportunity to socialize. However, with these public places being unavailable, children especially are having a hard time. Increasingly, children are responding by becoming stubborn and throwing tantrums. Adolescents are especially experiencing high levels of emotional distress. The lockdown has also created chaos in the routine followed by children.
Either he's become very dull or very restless or talking about subjects that constantly worry him. Or if these are the changes in yourself, then you definitely need help. Your health is important, your child's health is important, and your child's mental health depends on your mental health.
Access to mental health care both in India and outside of India has been a problem. The World Health Organization says that during the COVID-19 pandemic, access to mental health care has declined by 93%, which means that when the need for it is the most, there is reduction in terms of the kind of help we can offer to those people who require it. And children need it as much as adults too. For those seeking help outside a clinical setting, motherhood and lifestyle blogger Harpreet Suri is offering help.
Because of the pandemic, the kids are finding this changed scenario in a household overwhelming. Being active is essential for kids to keep their minds engaged. Therefore, we must make it a point to engage our kids in fun activities as often as possible.
Experts say not just behavioral, but also developmental delays are being seen in children now.
The toddlers and preschool children, they have developmental delay, and some of the kids, they have not started speaking. There is significant speech delay, behavioral problems, and stranger anxiety, not socializing.
The National Commission for Protection of Child Rights reported that at least 3,621 children have been orphaned due to COVID-19 and 26,000 kids have lost one parent. Children are facing mental and physical challenges. The need now is to acknowledge and reach out to them as much as possible. Societal support is a must at this stage. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today. That's it in this edition of COVID 360. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and do get a shot against COVID-19 if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.